Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. I am the CHAL, and welcome to another episode of the WWE podcast. Of course, here with Owen once again, but of course, we're here with another guest as well.
Hi, everyone.
So, for those who don't know who you are, please introduce yourself.
Well, my name's Mailee, and I'm his girlfriend, and I'm supporting him the best I can. He's really doing really well, so please keep the subscribers and the viewers up.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Owen, good to see you again, mate. Another fun-packed week after Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, I've been watching, like you say, Raw and NXT, and they've been fun, really fun. Especially NXT. I've been loving the NXT at the moment. So interesting going into what will be a very exciting next week. Obviously, NXT have their big television special before WrestleMania with Roadblock, and obviously less than sort of 40 days to go. And what I am excited about is the WWE 2K game in a couple of weeks as well, because I've seen some of the trailers and stuff for it. It looks really cool.
Yeah, I'm going to have a look for that on Steam and try and attach my controller to laptop and try and do a universe mode at some point. Obviously, a lot to get through in this one. We've got some brilliant promos to get through, some brilliant matches, a debut on NXT, or should I say a return, a perfect 10 return to NXT. I'm not sure you want to hear that. I'm thinking whether they hear a chair to the face. But let's get straight into this one then. Monday Night Raw. I mean, let's talk about some of the best moments from Monday Night Raw. One of my picks of the night was Zayn versus Nakamura. Fantastic match. And I think picking Zayn to win was the right decision because it gives him the first sort of push towards WrestleMania with a month and a half away.
Yeah, 100%. And they're even teasing it maybe versus Gunther for the Intercontinental title. Obviously, what came out would have come out on Wednesday, obviously yesterday from when we recorded this. Our WrestleMania predictions where he was going to be in that triple threat with Seth and Drew. But it might look like he might be in a match with Gunther for the IC title. And there's been rumors also about Chad Gable as well. So maybe even a triple threat that way. And those three in a ring would create bangers. So to be honest, even if Zayn isn't in that world title match, if he's in an IC title match with Gunther and Chad Gable, that'd be insane.
Yeah, even if you don't get the world title match, I think that's just as good with Gunther being the powerhouse, Chad Gable being the ring technician, and Sami Zayn being the sort of high-flying underdog. So, you know, the great mix of styles there, and it creates a perfect match for WrestleMania. Obviously, the women's side of the division, obviously, that took a really good step up this past week. Chelsea Green versus Raquel Rodriguez, I thought was fantastic. The way she sort of drew the line in the sand, she kept stepping over it. Brilliant. I think Chelsea's one of my favorite entertainers in terms of the way she does her comedic timing, the way she's comedic in the ring, but also develops that character as well. I thought she was fantastic on the night.
Yeah, 100%. I'm really loving the character at the moment of Chelsea Green, like you say. I think it's something that it creates diversity in the division. Like, you see that, she's not as goofball as some like others in the men's division of title, like Santino Morello and things like that. But it creates that excitement factor, that entertainment factor, which I think you need. I think a perfect example of that in the women's division NXT is, ironically, Ariana Grace, who, if people don't know, is Santino Morello's daughter. They're just really creating that sort of exciting and diversity of the women's division. And if, for example, I heard this on Twitter, like if people have been clamoring for this woman IC title, I would love her to sort of be, if they're doing a mid-card title, be part of that division. Because, for example, if they are going to do this women's mid-card title, maybe a good way to do it is maybe do a battle royal at WrestleMania and do it maybe as I heard this on social media, a China Memorial Battle Royal.
That would be fantastic. So it pays tribute to a wonderful woman in China who kind of trailblazed a real path for the women's division in the 90s and the early thousands. And, you know, with that previous history, you know, she's a fantastic role model for that battle royal.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. If something happens with that mid-card title, if he's going to do it, I think WrestleMania is a perfect place to do it.
100,000,000%. Some other fantastic moments. I mean, Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre, that promo was on fire. They're really building. I mean, it's looking more and more likely as the weeks go by now. We're looking at just Seth versus Drew on its own, potentially.
Yeah. But they'll probably turn it up another level because the Crown Jewel and Raw matches are pretty good. So they'll probably turn up an extra gear at WrestleMania. And Drew at the moment, I'm loving because he's like, you're saying, he makes sense with his promos as well. Because he's like, I don't want my win to be tainted, yet now he's saying, well, you're just going to make it easy for me when the Bloodline interfere in your match at WrestleMania. Because that could work perfectly to my idea, maybe, that if Seth and Cody win that tag match at WrestleMania, WrestleMania, that main event that I predicted on the predictions, then maybe as retaliation, the Bloodline then cost him the world title, and that leads to something along the line.
That would be pretty good. I think that, again, that's long-term storytelling. That's what we love about the WWE. Cody versus Grayson Waller, again, decent match. I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was brilliantly put out. What I love about Grayson Waller at the minute is that Paul Heyman seems to be in the background of Grayson Waller at the moment. It feels like he's kind of calling the shots through Grayson Waller at the moment. And I like how potentially they could be building towards a Waller face turn. And I think with how he was in Australia, I think that the audience are really shining to Grayson Waller, which means there could be an opportunity to create the ultimate face turn.
Yeah, and Waller's an incredible character. I love him. He's very entertaining. Like, his stuff in NXT was brilliant. Like, his sort of feuds, especially with the likes of, Braun Breaker going into that before he came up to the main roster when he was at SmackDown, was that that sort of angle with Johnny Gargano that you would say was building for years. Because if people didn't know, when Johnny Gargano left the company, he sort of gave Waller a bit of a rub and attacked him and left Gargano sort of on the floor when he was leaving obviously taking a break for his son Quill's birth and first sort of year of his life. And obviously they built into Standard Ever, where they had an incredible unsanctioned match. That I loved. And obviously he's only really been seen as a heel, so it'll be interesting to see how he'll be able to play as a face in WWE.
Yeah, I also think, you know what, Austin, I think they're also going to build long-term Austin Theory to have this massive face turn as well. I think both of them are going to be building towards some kind of massive face turn at different points throughout their careers. So,
yeah,
for me, I think both of them could be ultimate faces.
But again, it's both characters that have barely been faces in the company, if you think about it.
Yeah.
I think Austin Theory's only time being a babyface was probably that sort of back end with the Way in NXT.
Yeah. That's like the only kind of short time period where we saw him as a face. So it'd be interesting to see how they do it as a proper face turn. Obviously, one big final moment. Obviously, there's a lot of other moments on Raw that we obviously skip over, but they're all still great moments. But the final kind of headline moment from Raw was Rhodes and Heyman right at the end, and Heyman with the two phones. One phone call Roman Reigns, one phone call The Rock, and again, I love the passion from Cody. They're turning him into the ultimate babyface in professional wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, he's also the ultimate company man. I think if you think about what he was doing, even after the show completely, I think he did a gender reveal for a couple.
Yeah, I saw that. That was brilliant.
Yeah, and I remember at one point there was a gender reveal. I think he played back to because I believe when he was in AEW, he did his own gender reveal on national television, which was interesting. I remember the thing is, it happened twice now in AEW because they did it on pay-per-view.
I remember that. Yeah,
that was Sammy Guevara and Tay Conti.
Yeah. That was an interesting one.
Yeah.
No, I thought the gender reveal on Raw on Monday night was quite special. I thought it was nice that they had it in this like golden envelope and then revealed it. He's just screaming to the audience, "It's a boy!" So yeah, I thought it was brilliant.
I think it shows that Cody Rhodes is going to be the John Cena of the generation of kids today.
Yeah,
I mean, for us, it was John Cena. For these guys, it's going to be Cody Rhodes. Like,
I think when I first started as well, it was towards the back end of The Rock and Steve Austin as well.
Yeah.
So I remember The Rock and Steve Austin being the ultimate faces of the company, and then it became John Cena, and now it looks like it's going to be Cody Rhodes, which is going to be fantastic.
Yeah, and considering not too long ago he was building the opposition, as people say, in AEW, to now being the ultimate, like, if you think of WWE now, of current day, you think of Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
And some of the charity work he's been doing, and some of the stuff he's been helping out people that have always wanted to go to a wrestling show but can't afford to or not been able to give them chances, and stuff he does with the wrestling club and things like that is just brilliant.
Oh, it's I can't explain how much that guy means to the company and how much he means to wrestling fans as well. He's such an icon and such a role model to look up to for individuals. Whether you like wrestling or not, he's such a role model to look up to as someone to aspire to be like in terms of a personality as well. NXT, that was interesting. There's only one place to start, really. The chairman has returned to his former stomping ground, Shawn Spears. As soon as I saw the letter in, because we knew about these teasers for weeks, I assumed it was going to be some American voiceover just doing it for Okada or Tama Tonga. I think you guessed Tama Tonga as well.
Yeah.
Then the reports started coming out afterwards that Tama Tonga could be joining the Bloodline at some point, which I'm very excited about. But then we heard the chair shot. Then I saw the reveal in the single spotlight, and I'm like, oh my God, they played us both.
Yeah. Because I was thinking, this would lead to something to do with the club, Gallows and Anderson. It might still happen. Tama Tonga is coming to Derby. There has been reports about the Bloodline. It might have been reports he might start in NXT first.
Like Solo did.
Yeah. I think having Shawn Spears and having him presented the exact same as he's been presented for a lot of his time in AEW,
very smart.
It's really interesting because it's showing also that WWE aren't just going to completely change the character anymore.
No, I think what's good about WWE's creative direction at the moment is that they are giving the wrestlers more freedom in terms of what they want to be, giving Cody's AEW theme into WWE, CM Punk coming back, obviously, despite the circumstance regarding his AEW exit. Shawn Spears' presentation, staying the same in WWE now. Jade Cargill as well. So, they're giving wrestlers more freedom, and that's what I love about this creative direction. I think Matt Riddle said it on a podcast this week as well. It's a lot more controlled under Triple H direction than it was under Vince's direction. And that's the one thing we've got to really keep an eye out for here.
Yeah. I mean, Vince literally changed everyone because he always thought WWE was the one place to go. Like, they're going to change everything. But
time moved on.
Now, because the independent scene and there's so much very good competition, if you're going to build stars, obviously they're using this next in line system, the Performance Center. But when you bring in experienced stars like, your Shawn Spears, Andrade, Ali Idolo, obviously Tama Tonga, people will know who they are now. People know who Tama Tonga is because they think Bullet Club. You think of Shawn Spears, you think of hitting Cody Rhodes with a chair.
In the face.
Yeah. Which straight away banned chair shots being to the head banned in AEW.
I can't wait for that feud, by the way. I can't wait for Shawn Spears to eventually get back up to the main roster and have that feud with Cody Rhodes. Because it's going to come. We know for a point it's going to come soon, at some point.
You think of Jade Cargill, you think of, her entrance, her physique, her appearance, and it stayed the exact same because, it makes a lot more sense for people to know who they are, recognize who they are. And yes, they might go back and check out their previous stuff.
Yeah.
But one, that's brilliant for the entire wrestling business as a whole. And two, they're going to feel a back to Derby because they're like, what are they doing now?
Yeah, 100%.
And this will hopefully get the wrestling scene as a whole thriving within the indie scene, because when people leave Derby, they might even be allowed to use the same name, which then allows indie stars, allows the indie products as a whole to get bigger from people they know before, which will just create a massive mess and boom in the UK and in the US and everywhere, which is brilliant at the moment. I mean, when you've got the likes of and the freedom that AEW does to sometimes have partnerships with other companies that what's brilliant, and hopefully we'll get the same for WWE, is you've got people like Mike Santana, who's a former Impact World Champion in AEW's roster. He's coming to Rev Pro in a couple of months. For him to be allowed to do that is brilliant for the company, and it shows that companies working together is only going to help each other.
100%. It creates a bigger working relationship with the independent scene, and it really lets the wrestling business thrive as a whole, not just in divisions now. Speaking of the wrestling business thriving as a whole, I mean, Gallows and Anderson going down to NXT was definitely the right decision in my opinion, because now we're getting this kind of wolf dogs, Gallows and Anderson, looking into Stand and Deliver, what it looks like anyway.
Yeah, I'm thinking that they might be doing a more of a multi-man route with it.
Okay.
By what saw on NXT, we're going to talk a little bit about Roadblock before we finish today. But there is a tag team title match between number contenders in Chase U and the Wolf Dogs. But I could see them, Fraser and Axiom, and then probably Gallows and Anderson being maybe a 4-way for the titles.
Yeah.
But Gallows and Anderson are a brilliant tag team. Like, I've watched them I watched them a little bit in AEW, a lot in Impact, definitely a lot in New Japan. They're very decorated as a tag team, and to see them come out to NXT and sort of bring in a sort of more the next generation of stars, it is brilliant to see. And I'm loving this relationship. People coming down for NXT for a bit, sort of getting that sort of push they sort of need. Because Gallows and Anderson, it seems to be without AJ Styles, they're not really working.
So now they're going to create something in NXT where it's going to work, where they can also have the creative potential to launch it back on the main roster and deliver some more incredible feuds in the future.
Yeah. Especially if this also plans for, the debut of Tama Tonga.
I can't wait for that one. It's going to be amazing. Obviously some fantastic matches on NXT as a whole. Overall, in terms of reviewing the entire action as a whole, I mean, Dijak versus Luca with that Joe Gacy involvement at the end. Roxanne Perez versus Shakara Jackson. Enofe and Blade versus Gallows and Anderson, as we're speaking about them. Jordan versus Clanny Jordan versus Kiana James. Von Wagner versus Lexis King. Gigi Dolan versus Jada Parker, and of course Charlie Dempsey winning the NXT Heritage Cup over Noam Dar. Some fantastic action in there. Dempsey probably being, in my opinion, the highlight of winning that cup. I think he deserves it.
Yeah, I mean, the work he's had to put in, like, people say sometimes that just because, like, second generation stars in wrestling, sometimes it means they don't have to work as hard. In my opinion, that's twice as hard. Because he's got such a reputation to live up to with William Regal that he's going to have to work twice as hard, and he's showing at the moment because his technical style harkens back to the original British style of wrestling, and
100%.
he's going to bring that back 100%. And to have him run with this title, this sort of Heritage Cup sort of is very, very good for his sort of style. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's a decent long run with that. And when it's finished, he maybe comes up to the main roster, maybe doing something with his father.
That would be amazing. I think again, it's all long-term storytelling. It is all long-term storytelling. Before we get into obviously NXT as a whole was fantastic. The matches were incredible. Obviously Mello, big final one as well. Mello, D'Angelo, and Dragunov. That segment as well. I thought that was just spot on.
Yeah. Obviously, I love, be honest, love the Don. I love him so much.
Yeah, he's just brilliant as a main character.
Yeah, and just to say that, I like just him just being like the rule of NXT, where he can just go, oh yeah, your security, they're all gone, mate.
Oh, I loved that moment where Bella was like, oh, I've got my security around the ring. I can do whatever the hell I want. Janjo's like, click, nope, off you go. And it just shows where the power lies, doesn't it?
Yeah. Brilliant.
And it looks like it's going to be D'Angelo taking on Mello.
Yeah.
And the winner faces Ilja Dragunov at Stand and Deliver. Obviously going into NXT Roadblock. Obviously, we'll talk about NXT Roadblock while we've got NXT on the radar. So we've got 4 matches. As currently, I mean, there's also a match 5 according to this card, but it's not been properly written down yet, and that's Spears versus Holland. But I'm not going to believe that until we see it. But there is at least 4 matches confirmed. We've got Hayes versus D'Angelo, winner faces Dragunov at Stand and Deliver. You got Dijak versus Joe Gacy in an Asylum match. You got the Kabuki Warriors defending the tag team titles against Valkyrie and Paxley.
Yep.
I'm going to predict that's a Paxley heel turn. And then the tag team championships between Breaker and Corbin, Chase University, for the tag team titles.
Yeah.
So I think we're starting to finalize those Stand and Deliver matches now. And I think some of them might start popping up now.
Because Paxley and Valkyria versus Kabuki Warriors, that's like Paxley's reward for not getting involved in the match last week. So,
AKA the opportunity to heel turn.
Yeah. I'll be really interested to see what happens there, because it could be anything. It could even be, you know, Bayley coming back to NXT and costing the Warriors the titles.
That would be good. I'd like that.
Because more of a chance of happening here, I believe, than it would have been on in Elimination Chamber, just because I don't think Bayley would have travelled the entire way there. So,
yeah.
Breaker Chase Hughes, Wolf Dogs Chase Hughes is going to be a fun one. D'Angelo versus Mello, and I predict that'll be where we see Trick.
You know what? I'm kind of struggling to find. For me, I wouldn't be surprised if they go one or two directions. I wouldn't be surprised if they go with either Trick costing Mello the match, or Mello wins against D'Angelo, Trick attacks Mello, and at some point down the line before Stand and Deliver, we get the Dragunov decides to make it triple threat.
Yeah, I would love to see that, to be honest.
But I also wouldn't be surprised if we get D'Angelo versus Dragunov, because I think those two have been really standout. They've got the opportunity to build something for Stand and Deliver, and then you get that big Mello versus Trick match where you don't actually need a title for that.
No. I'm also very excited for this Asylum match. I would say it'd probably be a bit of a cage. I would say it'd be a cage match.
I'd like the Asylum to be a cage with weapons attached. That's what I would personally like.
A bit like Extreme Rules 2015, right?
Yeah, it feels like Lockdown for TNA as well.
Yeah, I would love just to see, like, I can see with them both being with their backgrounds, I can see them introducing some weapons that doesn't usually get introduced in wrestling at the moment. So
there is a 5th match that's been written down as well, but it's not been officially confirmed. As far as we're recording this, it's not been officially confirmed, and that's Sean Spears versus Ridge Holland. Do you think that'll happen?
Yeah, but the problem is they could even. I think they might do that for then maybe have Sean Spears have a bigger match come Stand and Deliver.
That would be good. But who in terms of the people that are available now, who could you see come up against Sean Spears at Stand and Deliver? We're looking at the amount of time they got to build that.
Babyface.
That would be a good one.
Because I wouldn't be surprised Spears' run in NXT might be to start putting over some of the younger talent. I know he's just got here, don't worry about that, but obviously Sean's getting on a little bit now. I know he's still got loads of time, don't worry about that. But for him to maybe put up someone that's so talented in Obafemi will be a great route to also show how good of a wrestler he can be. Like, the amount of stuff I've seen Spears do in the last few years, especially with the likes of, if you've not seen, he had a really, really good match with Chris Danger a couple of weeks ago.
I watched the whole thing back. It was fantastic. And to see someone like Chris Danger go from being a YouTuber to being a pro wrestler now, it's just fantastic. And he had a really good match.
Yeah, it was absolutely incredible. And just to see it happen and just to show what Spears can do with someone a bit more experienced, I can see him having a bang of a match with someone like Obafemi.
Chris Danger's obviously faced Sean Spears in the Indies. Could we see Chris Danger come to the WWE?
Maybe I would. It'd be a very interesting one. I don't know about that, maybe, but yeah, be interesting.
Yeah, my voice very high.
Yeah,
my voice went very, very high on that one. before we get on to previewing, obviously, I know you'll know some of the details from SmackDown coming up this week. Before we do that, we want to send our support for Maxine Dupree, because the way she got booed in that house show was disgusting when she's trying to get better week in, week out. And the support from the superstars, someone who hasn't got a lot of experience in the ring, is trying to get better, and you're getting booed like that when you're trying to improve week in, week out. And I think she's improving week in, week out. She is getting better. If it's slow steps, it's still steps. So the support she's had from the superstars has been fantastic. And anyone booing her when she's trying to get better week in, week out, you're disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, you could just tell from the first match I saw her in Derby to see her getting better and better. And the house show circuit is supposed to be like that. That's why NXT has house shows as well.
Exactly.
As well as Derby. To let them improve without the pressure of television.
Exactly.
And it's showing a lot. And she, like I say, she's getting better and better week by week.
Yeah.
And she didn't get that chance of going on to NXT, having a bit of a run, then coming to the main roster. She was put in the fire. She was put straight in the main roster. She didn't have much time in NXT. I don't think she had any time on TV in NXT. She got thrusted straight into the main roster, and I don't think many others would do what she was doing.
No, so, absolutely not.
I have the utmost respect for her. I want to say, what if you're anyone who's shouting bad abuse about her on social media? No, what would it be if you were doing this? So it's almost telling to your job. If you were thrust into the unknown, and then people start abusing you, what would you feel like that? So fair play to her for doing what she's doing, and I hope she gets even better, because she's going to get even better, and I can't wait to see her in the future.
Yeah, 100%. I could see you shaking your head when you're hearing about the fact that she was getting abused and that.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, it's not nice. It's really not. Especially when someone's trying to get better, isn't it? But no.
Never put anyone down.
Exactly, 100%.
Never put anybody down. You put anybody down, you're disgusting.
100 million%. Obviously, we'll end this on a lighter note. SmackDown's coming up on Friday. Very, very exciting SmackDown. Obviously, The Rock returns to the ring. Cannot wait for that. Legend in the game. What else is coming up?
From what I'm not 100% sure what's happening on SmackDown, but obviously the big one has to be The Rock.
Obviously.
But it's going to be an interesting show. There's going to be something to do with Bayley. Bayley and Dakota Kai. That's what I remember. Bayley and Dakota Kai v Kabuki Warriors could get that Dakota Kai turn.
Probably we said about that in the last show, didn't we?
Yeah. We're probably going to get more to do with the Pride Final Testament, I imagine.
LWO and Legado, I think.
Yeah, I can see maybe the fallout to do with the US title. There's been rumors that. So I say triple threat. It might end up being a singles match.
I said triple threat as well.
Yeah, between Logan and Randy Orton. Might even be a triple threat. We never know. But yeah, I think we might even be building. Going obviously that SmackDown is going to be a good show. Going on to next week, we've got Roadblock, we've got Raw. That tag thing, it might even be building to maybe a triple threat tag team title match at this rate between DIY, the Awesome Truth, and it's looking and the Judgment Day. It's looking that way, or R-Truth calls them Regeneration X.
R-Truth's hilarious. If I'm being honest with you, no offense to DIY or anything like that, because their involvement in the storyline right now is pretty good. But for me, I just for me, I think it should just be Judgment Day and Awesome Truth at WrestleMania, and then do Awesome Truth DIY at Backlash. For me, I feel like it'd be better just doing those two at Backlash and then having Judgment Day and Awesome Truth at WrestleMania, and then let the Judgment Day focus on a different feud going into Backlash. I just think it's better. It's just it just gives the chance to have that Fire R-Truth promo and then just have the two teams against each other at WrestleMania.
Because it's also, if you do that, it's a perfect way of giving the Awesome Truth that pop, but not giving them a long title reign that might burn people out. Because I don't think a title reign between them two, a tag title reign, should last that long, to be honest.
Absolutely not.
and to drop them to someone like DIY who can then go on to some brilliant feuds. Like I say, they can do a great feud with New Catch Republic.
Oh my god.
The Wolf Dogs, if they bring them up. LWO, the Street Profits. Like, there are some brilliant rivalries they can bring in.
And there's some tag teams on the independent scene they can bring up either straight onto the main roster or bring them up through NXT developmental.
Yeah. I would love them, if they're ever going to do it, is bring up, is you've got Tamatonga.
Yeah.
Bring in Tanalonga, his brother. Good as a Destiny.
That would be good.
Because I think Tamatonga's known for being a tag team wrestler. To bring maybe someone in who's, good as in Tangaloa, big tag team, would love to see that.
That would be absolutely fantastic. Finally, then, before we end the show, I know it's a shorter one this week, but we kind of wanted to do a bit of a recap, especially with Elimination Chamber and all the videos we did over the past week. The last one, again, sticking with the tag teams, and it's a tag team that I don't know what direction they're going in, but I've got this gut feeling it could be something pretty good, and that's Adonis and Alexander, because the vignettes at the moment seem to be pointing to some kind of direction, but it's very hard to see what direction they're going in at the moment. I think they're both tremendous athletes, but in terms of the direction, in terms of their characters go, it's a different story.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's a bit confusing sometimes because you think they're going to do one direction, then you see the next thing, so they're going, what direction are they going now then? And you're confused. You can't... This is the problem because I want them to because they're brilliant athletes. Like Cedric Alexander, before he came to WWE, was brilliant on the independent scene. And I want him to go back to what he was there. And I think if he can do something for Adonis, I think another tag team with their sort of credentials could do really well. I would love them to go on a feud with the likes of DIY, New Catch Republic, that people. So yeah, if they can get their character on point, they'll be flying.
Yeah, 100 million%. There we go, guys. That's a shorter episode of the WWE show this week. We will be back at the same time next week with another episode. We're going to go through Raw, NXT, Smackdown this week. Go through Roadblock as well. In fact, we'll probably do NXT Roadblock as a separate interview. Separate review.
Roadblock's a TV special, just so you know. It's the Tuesday, so
part
of the whole thing. So it's going to be a good show altogether anyway. I think both this week, I mean, obviously it was a bit short this week because we did two different ones on Elimination Chambers would have taken a bulk of this, but we did it as a separate special, obviously. Being chowdered. So it's interesting to see next week what's going to go on. Roadblock, you say we could do a separate one. Because that will create so many branches going into Stand and Deliver. And we'll start to see some title matches, but matches starting to get made for WrestleMania 40 as well.
Oh, 100 million%. But there we go, guys. Thank you very much for watching and listening. Owen, of course, thank you very much once again.
Yeah, always a blast doing this. And always great to do this with Aaron and interesting talking points, obviously, this week. Going into, hopefully, some more matches being announced before we join together next week for the next show. Yeah,
100%. And thank you for coming on this week.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much, guys. I am the CHAL, and of course, ta-ra for now.